and gentlemen, today we are going to be doing the Greentopian Army tour like I promised yesterday. So let's get into the tour and the summary of the Greentopian Army. This is the Greentopian Army. I couldn't set up the whole army because it was too big, but I set up the weapons and stuff like that. So a brief history about Greentopia. Greentopia was the first green nation to be around, and they would later have the colony of Greenland, which Greenland will be occupied by them until the Great Aryan Civil War. And if you want information about that, I recommend you watch my Greentopian history video and Greenland history video to give a background history with the differences between these two nations. Now we're going to get into the statistics and information on each of the soldiers. So we have first this guy over here. He is the leader of the nation. He is the president, and this is President Give. So this is what he looks like, and we're going to put him over here. Next, we'll have this guy. Now, this guy is a pilot. He is armed with a pistol and an assault rifle, just in case if he crashes or is facing enemies. This is why he's armed with two different types of weapons. So he's basically a pilot. This is a tank commander. Then we have general. Also, excuse that. That's a light for my stuff. This is the general. Then we have the lieutenant. And then we will have the traffic officer, who's in charge of directing traffic for infantry and vehicles when they're in a different country, to guide them to the military bases and headquarters. Then we have the drill instructor, which his job is to train the soldiers. So this is what he is used for. And I sometimes use him to man artillery or drive jeeps. So he's basically a three-parter. Next, we have the guards. This is the presidential guard of Greentopia. Then we have the base guard, base and headquarter guard, along with outposts. So he's a soldier on the field or on the base guarding. This is what the recruit looks like when he's not in battle and is in training. Next, we have base radio. Men who can talk to other bases and soldiers from home. Then we have three different styles of battlefield. This is the modern, postmodern one they had. This is the old one that they used to have, and this is the modern day that they use. They also use the other two, so these guys are active and useful for the Greentopian army. Next, we have these spotters or binocular guys. This guy is a lookout on the battlefield. This guy is a spy for doing intelligence runs on Battlefield 2, since he's crawled and he has binoculars, which is really cool. And this guy does surveillance from their HQ and base. So that's what these three are, and they are still used in the Greentopian army. Another fact about the Greentopian army is they use a mix of old and new weapons, or borrowed weapons they have, or weapons they have borrowed from other nations to upgrade their arsenal of weaponry. Next, we have the sapper and engineer. Then we have the mine detector. Then we have the two different types of mortars. We have the modern and we have the postmodern, which is what they would commonly use, and both are used also in the military. Next, we have bazookas and RPGs along with stingers, which I'll show you a demonstration here. So we're going to go through a timeline of different weapons. So this is the first bazooka. Now, this was a light piece of pipe that would launch a shell to destroy their enemy tracks, which was commonly used, but then they decided to upgrade the bazookas with the Greenlandian bazookas, and they are a little bit bigger. It's a bigger piece of tubing and can destroy medium, heavy, and light tanks pretty easily. Then we have the RPG, which is their creation, and it is used to destroy armored cars and trucks, and also shoot down helicopters from the sky. And like another weapon they borrow from Greenland is their stingers, which helps destroy heavy tanks and heavy armored tanks and super tanks, which is very useful. So there's the evolution of bazookas and rocket launchers for you. Next, we have the machine guns. The first machine gun they had was a 50 cal. Then they evolved from a 50 cal to a 30 cal. Then from a 50 cal to a 30 cal to a 20 cal. And this is what the evolution is. So basically we have heavy, medium heavy, and light machine guns. Next, we have the chargers, which, since most of the Greentopian soldiers use bolt action rifles, this is what the first charger would look like. He doesn't have a bayonet, but I pretend that he does have a bayonet. And this is another one that they used to have, is these kind of helmets like the Great Britain did, but those were special units when they were at their time, but they're still used in the army. And this is what another charger looks like running across the battlefield. And then we have the modern day charger slash ambusher, which these guys are also all these guys are used in the Greentopian army. Like I said, they use a mix of modern and old weapons. So then we have the ammo carrier that carries the machine gun ammo for the soldiers in battle, and not only machine gun ammo but rifle ammo as well. Next, we have their newest, well, one of their oldest but newest invention, the flamethrower, which they were the first ones who created the flamethrower for at the time. Then we have the different grenadiers. This is the modern grenadier. This is the early grenadier, which he was armed with a small pineapple grenade, but these guys are also armed with small pineapple grenades, but these pineapple grenades are lighter to carry than the ones they used to have on here. They were a little bit heavy, by like 1 pound. No, about 14 ounces, and well, yeah, 1 pound. And they would usually have a satchel to carry like 4 of them, and they would throw them in the trenches or something, or bunkers. But these guys can just carry like about 6, since they're lighter, and they can go around on their belts. So these guys are these guys are still used in the military. So yeah. Next we have the battlefield medic, and this is what he looks like. Then we'll have the sabotage, which these are soldiers that are part of a unit known as the sabotage unit. These guys are like commandos of the Greentopian army. They go into enemy bases and sabotage enemy convoys and stuff like that. And they're mostly armed with the MP5, as you can see, which these guys are pretty cool. Then we have the 3 types of snipers. We have a battlefield sniper right here. We have an anti-tank rifleman / sniper, because these guys are used to shoot tanks just in case if they didn't have any bazookas. So this is a new cool weapon that they have, and these guys are still used in the military. And we have the classic sniper rifle, which the front of the barrel was broken, but it's still, I still use it. And these guys are trained with blending in their surroundings and picking up targets pretty quickly with the reloading fast techniques. Now we're moving on to the riflemen, which there are 3 types of riflemen, which I can give you a brief history. So the first rifleman had a trapdoor action mechanisms where they would open the latch, put a bullet in it, and shoot. These were their first weapons that they had used, and they were good until they had problems with reloading quick enough on the battlefield. So that is when they developed the bolt action rifle with magazines, where they can shoot multiple rounds single-handedly within a minute, within a minute time span of a minute, which is very interesting. And then later they developed the semi-automatic rifles, which are also loaded with magazine and could shoot up to 16 to 20 bullets per magazine, which was the headstone for their next inventions that they created on their own, which was the semi-automatic rifles, which the auto rifles or assault rifles that they had. So let me get them real quick and we'll give a brief history. So the first rifle was like this. The magazines were a little bit shorter, and they had 9 caliber rounds, and these bullets were considered useless. And these are mostly used for base guards and prison guards. Then they have evolved to the M16, which was very useful in battle, and they are still used in their military today. Then they evolved to the M83. Well, not the M83 yet. They evolved to the M24, which was lighter because the M16 was a little bit heavier, and this was lighter and had a shorter magazine. But the rifle did work, and it could be functioned into single shot, semi-automatic, and full auto, which was a good technology advancement. Then here we have the M83, which was a extended magazine full automatic rifle, and it was used on most of the assaults and still is today. The next we have the uh, M36, which is not a real gun, I don't think, but this is what they are armed with, and this is like the M16 and like the M24, except it's a mix of light and heavy, and these are used for the commandos, which is what this guy is too. He's a commando unit to risky rescue operations and capture and assaults on the battlefield. And then they evolved to the modernized rifles, and this would be used today and is still used in the army. And then they have another special unit where they would sneak into other countries and capture certain targets, like leaders of crime organizations. Basically, these are like the military police, and this is what these guys are. Next, we'll have the sharpshooters, and their evolution starts the exact. So when the M83, they start out with M16s, and then they move on to the M83s, and then the M20, which is what the other guy I showed you had, and these were meant to use for military police. Also, another military police would be the battering ram, which these guys would use to break down doors of houses and bunkers and bases that belong to their enemies to start doing cavity searches. So this is a cool guy to have for their army. Then we have the grenade launcher. He's armored with a bulletproof suit and a gun that shoots 10mm grenade shells, and they are fierce in the battle and are still used currently in the war. And I know this guy looks futuristic, but this would be like a ray gun to most creators, but I like using it as a grenade launcher, which is something that my army never had, and these guys were the first ones to have a grenade launcher, so they're pretty cool. And then we have the signalman, and like the Greentopians, his job is just to signal specific targets and divisions when to attack and when not to attack. And he's also the message runner, so he's both a signalman and message runner. Okay, so that will be it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and look out for my poll that is going to be posted right about after this video is posted.